I wonder if this hat looks better like that or like that. There we go. I'm ready. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Royce. I'm a painter, sculptor, and collector. I really wanted just to do a sit and talk. I get asked all the time, how do I become an Imagineer? How do I become a Disney animator? How do I become a Disney artist? If I were to have somebody talk to me the way I'm about to explain to you, it would have helped me tremendously. I hope my art inspires others, and I hope that everyone gets to where they want to get to. Everyone's path is going to be different. Everyone's journey is going to be different. When I worked in figure finishing, for example, look, here's the deal. When I worked in figure finishing, I was one of 5 guys that painted the entire Disneyland Resort audio animatronics. What does that mean? There's not that many spots in positions like those. Does that mean that it's impossible? No. But it just makes it really, really difficult. From my view, it's hard to get in, not because you're not good enough, it's because no one leaves those roles. Why? Why would you, right? And here we have a really good example. I'm gonna tell you how I got my start as an artist with Disney. Rewind all the way back to 2012. I did, like many did, the Disney college program. I know a lot of people want to do the college program or have done the college program. I even get asked sometimes about what were the questions and what should I say here? I have forgotten, it's been so long ago, but what I will say is that if you are in college and you want to pursue the Disney college program, it is honestly one of the best experiences I've had in my entire life. I met my best friend to this day there. You get a lot of cool perks. You get to walk in Walt's apartment, you get to ride Space Mountain with the lights on, you get to go up to the Dream Suite. Anyway, when I started at Disney, I knew what I wanted to do, but I just didn't know how I would get there. I would see Walt Disney Imagineering Anaheim office that used to be right behind Indy. It was a closed set, so you really couldn't get in and communicate with anybody. I was a Jungle Cruise skipper, for those of you who do not know. That seems like a lifetime ago. I worked Indiana Jones, I worked the Tiki Room. I also was a conductor on the Disneyland Railroad once upon a time. Coming from that background, it helped me as a painter. I understood, especially coming from being a skipper on the Jungle Cruise, what the guests look at, what goes wrong more often, and I actually used a lot of those past experiences with my art direction leaders and my art directors to better the figures, and it really was a positive outcome for everybody. Fast forward a little bit into 2015, Shanghai Disneyland was opening, and there were a lot of artists local in Glendale and in Anaheim that went there to be art directors. When they left for 1, 2, sometimes even 3 years, that means that those positions finally opened. Not permanent, but CT, which means casual temporary. Usually with Disney, that lasts 6 months, and then you have to take a week off, and then it could be extended for another 6 months. That was my door into my first art job at Disney. An amazing artist named Eric left. He became an art director for Walt Disney Imagineering in Shanghai. During that time, I filled in his role as an audio animatronics figure finisher for the Anaheim division. Now, what does that mean? I did not know so much went into just one figure. It was so divided into segments. So there was the animation that just focused on the movement. There was the plastiers that just focused on the fiberglass. And then there was the costumers that just focused on the costumes and the wigs. And then finally the figure would come to me, and I would truly be the figure finisher. I would paint, I would finish whatever needed to be done. So many talented people, so many craftsmanships combined, worked on the figure. So by the time it came to us in the paint shop, it was pretty much already done, and he just needed whatever needed to be done. Paint. There is a fly. Sorry. Oh, how did that get in here? Figure finisher. Basically what I did is I would paint anything that moved and That was such a surprise to me when I found myself at 3 a.m. painting gas station pumps in Toontown, that bamboo pole that people love to play with in Indiana Jones, windmills at Goofy's house, a lot of random things that you don't think about. It's not just pirates, Marvel dolls, tiki room birds, but we did do those as well. The beginning of our day was really fun. We would go out into the park, things that needed to be done, figures that needed to be worked on, and we would go into the attractions. And walking through some of the attractions for the first time was truly the most magical experience. I remember when I worked Jungle Cruise, it was such a cool thing to go on a safari when you would walk through the jungle. I look back now and I am so fortunate to have been able to walk through every single attraction multiple times, go in and out of everything, get lost, get trapped. By the way, I have a lot of fun stories to tell you about the times that I've gotten trapped in Pirates and Small World. So I would start at 3 a.m. and yes, I did say 3 a.m. I would start. So I had to wake up at 2. That means I had to go to sleep at 5, and this was a Monday through Friday job. So that means I basically only had Saturday to have a life, and it was very, very complicated. I saw my roommate, I think, once a month, if we were lucky, if our schedules lined up, because he also worked at Disney. Once I got to work, we would head out into the attractions and paint until ride operators got there. Once they started doing the testing for the attractions, then we would go into the shop and then complete our day. I would go to lunch at like 7, and everyone else would be having breakfast at the cafe. So that was my first art job, and I could get more into figure finishing later if you want, but I wanted this just to be a breakdown into kind of how I got to where I got to inspire you. I got offered another role, and this is when it's really good to network and to show interest in not just one field, but many, because you never know when another door might open. This next door led me to 2 more doors that eventually led me back here. So I'm just giving this as an example. I went into the character head shop, and that was such a fun job. I took care of the atmosphere characters, for example, Sully, King Louie, Mickey, Minnie, Goofy. We also did tiaras. Here's a picture of me painting Princess Tiana's tiara. That was really fun. So you just never know what you were gonna get there. And that was such a fun job too. I remember the first time walking through the character costume department and seeing all the costumes. And when I was growing up, I loved the 7 Dwarfs costumes, especially their shoes. So immediately I was like, where are the dwarf shoes? I can't, they didn't let me try them on, but I got to hold them, and it was so exciting for me. My inner child was like, oh my God. So I worked there for a little bit, and then, like I said, another door opened. I've been very, very blessed in my career. And then the next stop was the sign shop. I didn't paint any signs. Well, no, I take that back. I painted 1 sign. And in there, I basically was painting ride vehicles. Truly, to this day, one of the highest honors of my career was there. I got to paint a carousel horse from King Arthur's Carousel at Disneyland in Fantasyland. One of the most iconic opening day attractions. My heart was beating. It took me 1 month. Here's a picture of the finished product. I had never painted with automotive before, so I really didn't know what to expect. I also did a teacup and other things, but this truly to me was like gilding the lily of my career, because for one, I didn't feel like I was qualified to even touch one of these. I'm glad that they believed in me before I believed in myself, because I was really scared. I just worked really hard and I learned automotive paint. If you want to be a painter or artist or whatever it is, learn multiple mediums. When I first started in figure finishing, I only knew oil and acrylic. And what I mean by that is I painted traditional oil painting on canvases, and I did very little paintings with acrylic. In college, I was trained in traditional art. We learned the old master way of painting, and it'll last forever, and you could put gesso and glaze and it won't crack. And I really learned to love acrylic. So that's another tip I would say, is definitely hone in on multiple mediums, multiple disciplines because it just makes you that much more valuable. So when they asked me, hey, do you know automotive paint? I didn't at the time, and I was very fortunate to have been trained and have a really good mentor. But if I would have said, yeah, I already know that, that would have just been that much better for me. So just another tip for you. And then after that, I worked in a couple other departments before I went back into painting. I worked in the entertainment arts section for a little bit. I think I worked there for like 2 years. There I did a lot of displays and sets and overlays for like parties, Mickey's Halloween party and stuff like that, the Christmas parties, the Mickey's Halloween bash. We would like decorate the Main Street train station. It really just helped my career come full circle with appreciating every job that I've had, learning and growing in the process. Coming back to a lot of your questions on how do I get to where I want to get to, my tactic was, okay, I'm just gonna enter the company in a very beginning job, because my parents always told me, once you're in, it's gonna be easier for you to network your way. And especially if you want to get into Disney, they have a lot of internal postings that if you are an external candidate, they always, of course, are going to look at who's already there to see their talent that they already have within the company. From my experience, I don't see a lot of outsiders get in. It's a lot of who you know, what you know, and who's already in. So just keep that in mind. It's not bad to start from somewhere else, especially if you don't want to be there. I didn't necessarily hate being a Jungle Cruise skipper or an Indiana Jones archaeologist or a tiki room host. You know, it wasn't the funnest job in the world, but I appreciate and I gained so much life experiences, especially dealing with angry people. When you work at an attraction, you usually also work other places. So for instance, when I would work Jungle Cruise, there's not enough cast members that meets the openings for that day at the jungle. So it's all seniority based, and that is a whole nother conversation. I remember being in that bubble of seniority, and that's all that matters. And how much time do you have? Because I want an ER and I got hired before you. And it was a machine, it was a monster, and I was so happy to be out of that bubble. But what it taught me is to grow thick skin, because some people can be so mean. For instance, when I would work guest control in fireworks or parades, oh, be easy on those people because they have it rough. It was definitely a hard learning experience to me, coming from such a small town, of truly how mean people can be at such a happy place. People would scream at me, I actually had gotten spit on, I've gotten pushed. It was just really shocking to me how people feel entitled because they've paid a certain amount of money and they feel like they can break every rule and just do whatever they want. To me, it didn't make sense, because I think of it as, okay, well, if you pay a certain amount of money for a car, does that mean you could do whatever you want on the road and go wherever you want, go as fast as you want? Okay, that was a bad example, because I think some people actually do that. Never mind. It just really woke me up to how people can really be hateful, and it just turned me off to being very open and being very outgoing. And when I got into figure finishing, it was good for me. I spent so much time away from the public, and I got just to work with a team, and that was so wonderful. Also learned to take criticism. When I first started in figure finishing, I thought I was Pablo Picasso, and no one could tell me right from wrong. And boy, was I wrong, because I worked under Walt Disney Imagineering Anaheim's Senior Art Director for Audio Animatronics Figure Finishing. And she was not shy. I'm not saying she was mean. You have rules and you have documentation, and you have to make something look exactly like the way it looked. This is actually another really good activity that you can do for good practice. Find something and then paint something that looks just like it. Try to make it look identical, because that's definitely going to be something that you're going to need to learn. So I would definitely say be open to criticism, definitely be willing to work overtime, be willing to come in on your days off, be willing to go the distance in every project and show that you are interested in different avenues, and don't forget to network. I think that networking definitely is key to just expanding your horizon and learning what's out there, because once a position opens, if you networked with that person, they can say, hey, I remember Caitlin, Joe, Randy, whoever it may be, wanted this role or was interested in this role. Let me reach out to them. That has happened. I have seen that happen. Take advantage of your mentors and learn as much as you can from them, because they're going to teach you what you need to, the professional way to network. There is a way to ask why, when, and how, and not to be pushy. That is why I always try to help anyone, because I truly was never given any of this information. I was never really guided along. I kind of just had to learn on my own, and it was fine. I'm glad that I had my journey, but if I had somebody to watch just like you're watching and to learn from, I think that would have benefited me. And I believe that when you help others, good things come. Also, when you become a cast member, you get a lot of cool things. Through my duration of being a cast member, I collected a lot of neat things, including name tags, vests, and hats. So I thought this would be a really fun opportunity to show you some of my memorabilia. First and foremost is going to be the first name tag. This is my Royce Disneyland Resort name tag. You just never forget your first name tag. This was a neat one. I don't remember when I got this. I know it was at Figure Finishing. It was some sort of like Go Green program. This one I got from Burbank when I was at Disney Consumer Products. Look how cool. It's just the corporate Mickey. This next name tag really truly holds such a place in my heart. I remember wearing this when I was painting some of my favorite figures, some of my favorite rides. That is the Disneyland 60th anniversary name tag. And this is where I have my year pin, and I got also a dream pin. I have a 5-year pin. Well, I had one. It fell off my name tag in the Jungle Cruise water during a show check. So rest in peace. Another wood one. Just cannot go wrong with the original Sorcerer Mickey. Love this name tag. These two are very special to me. They were my first Walt Disney Imagineering name tags. I love these so much. This was a newer one from my Disney Parks and Resorts days. Disney Parks and Resorts Live Entertainment Art Services. I think it has my name in the front too. It should go like that. I got this button. I don't know when I got this. I remember it was like for some party. I think it was like the 5-year party when you get like your anniversary thing. This hat is truly, it's been through something. I mean, look at it. You can tell it's been through something. I wore this hat when I painted some of your favorite Disneyland attraction rides and figures such as Pirates, Small World, Splash, Tiki Room, you name it. All these stains have a story to tell. I cherish this hat so much. I know the last two are going to be your favorites. First up is going to be the Walt Disney Imagineering vest. This vest, I stained, I ripped, I tore, I lost and found again. But of course, no vest would be complete without your Imagineering helmet. It's one of the best gifts I've ever been given. So I encourage you all to chase your dreams, follow your dreams, and if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, or recipes, don't forget to comment below, subscribe, follow, ring that bell icon, you know the works. I will be here to answer all of your questions. Don't forget to also hit up my Instagram right here, Imagine with Royce. I have a lot of my artwork on there, so that may be a really good exercise for you. Choose a figure that I have done and try to replicate it yourself. Sculpting is really, really good for the soul, and then you get to paint your work. It's just so satisfying. Maybe one day you'll be making a video like this of your own, and you'll be able to pass along your knowledge and help the next one in line, because there will always be somebody more talented, better singer, better actor, better painter. That's just the way life is. Just be the best you can be, and that is all that you can be. Learn to love yourself, because guess what? Everywhere you go, there you are. All right, everyone, that's all the time I have for today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and don't forget not only to follow your dreams, but to chase them.